You've stepped into Crimson Moon stories where love is dangerous, loyalty is tested, and fate always leaves a scar. I'm Noktula and I wrote this story just for you. Ready to feel everything? Let's begin.
Branches snapped under the wolves' feet as the royal patrol tore through the woods. The night air was thick with the scent of sweat, blood, and wild fur. At the head of the formation ran Beta Logan, his sharp eyes cutting through the darkness like blades. "She's close," said Reed, one of the enforcers flanking Logan. "I can smell her." Logan nodded, slowing his pace. "Don't corner her too fast. She's already panicked. We don't want more bloodshed." "She's feral," Reed muttered. "Blood's the only language she understands." They found her crouched beneath the roots of a fallen pine, back arched like a cat, lips curled in a warning snarl. Tangled black hair curtained her face. Her limbs were filthy, knees scabbed, fingers curled like claws. "Easy," Logan whispered, motioning the patrol to stay back. "Let me try." She lunged before he took another step. Logan sidestepped, but she managed to rake her nails across his forearm before Reed slammed into her from behind, knocking her to the ground. She fought like a storm, hissing, snapping her teeth at anyone who dared touch her. "Don't hurt her," Logan barked. It took 3 wolves to pin her down. Even then, she twisted like something untamable. Reed finally got the manacles around her wrists raw from earlier fights. She shrieked, not in fear, not in pain, but pure primal fury. "She's not just rogue," someone muttered. "She's something else." Logan stared down at the girl as she thrashed, her wild amber eyes locked on his. She wasn't just feral. She was broken. The holding cells beneath the royal compound stank of damp stone and desperation. Logan hated them. But tonight, he stood there longer than he ever had before, watching the girl in the farthest cage. She sat in the corner, chained by the ankle, chewing slowly on a strip of dried meat. She didn't look at him. Not even once. "She won't speak," said Ren, the medic Omega. "Hasn't made a word. Just growls. She's not shifting either. I don't think she knows how." "She's young," Logan said quietly. "Too young to survive in the wild this long on her own." "She didn't survive," Ren replied. "She adapted." Logan stepped closer to the bars. "What's her name?" Ren shook her head. "No ID, no scent records. Could be from one of the rogue massacres 5-10 years ago. Could have wandered out from deep wilds. She's lucky she hasn't been shot on sight." "Is she?" Logan murmured. "Look at her." The girl had curled into a ball, limbs tucked in like an animal hiding its belly. Her eyes were closed, but her ears twitched with every footstep. Reed entered the chamber, grunting. "Alpha Marcus wants a report. Says if she's not useful, we put her down." Logan stiffened. "She's an Omega." "Barely." Reed snorted. "She doesn't speak, doesn't shift, doesn't even flinch. Not a submissive bone in her body." "She flinched when I tried to feed her," Logan said. Reed's brow raised. "You fed her." "Someone had to." Logan stayed long after Reed left. He sat beside the bars, quiet, unmoving, waiting. She didn't come closer. But she didn't growl either. It was a start. For days, Logan visited the cell. At first, the feral girl wouldn't look at him. When he entered, she turned away, baring her back like a wounded creature. When he spoke, she growled. When he offered food, she waited until he left to touch it. Then, on the 5th morning, she moved. Logan sat on the floor, eating from a wooden bowl of sliced peaches. He slid another bowl into her cage and set it a few feet from the bars. "This one's for you," he said calmly. "It's sweet. You'll like it." She stared at the fruit with narrow suspicion. Her fingers twitched against the floor. "You don't have to come close," he added. "I'll sit here. I won't touch." No response, just silence. But half an hour later, she crawled, slow, wary, and took the bowl. She sat back in her corner and sniffed the fruit like a wolf sniffing a trap. She took a bite. Logan smiled. Then, as if sensing his pleasure, she snapped her teeth at the air between them and let out a sharp, guttural growl. "I know." Too soon, Logan said, not moving. "I get it. You keep feeding her like that, and she's going to think you're her pet." Reed sneered from the hallway. Logan ignored him and entered the cell, holding out a soft piece of bread wrapped in cloth. Breakfast. The girl sat upright this time. Her eyes tracked his hands. She seemed calmer until he took one step too close. She lunged. Her teeth sank into his wrist before he could pull back. The pain shot up his arm, and he cursed, stumbling away. Guards rushed forward. "No!" Logan shouted. "Don't touch her." The girl was crouched now, blood on her lips, watching them all like a cornered animal. Logan pressed a cloth to the wound and exhaled slowly. "That's my fault." "You're bleeding," Ren said, wide-eyed. "She bit you. I invaded her space. She warned me before. She doesn't know what kindness is." "She'll learn," Ren said doubtfully. "If she wants to. She wants to survive," Logan replied. "And maybe more than that." From that day forward, Logan never entered the cage again. He sat just outside it instead, talking quietly, reading books aloud, humming songs. He brought her food and left it near the bars. Sometimes she ignored him. Sometimes she took it the moment he turned his back. She never spoke, but she watched. Her eyes were always following him, tracking his gestures, narrowing when he laughed, widening when he showed her small things, flowers, trinkets, pieces of smooth stone. "You remind me of someone," he said one evening as he held a pine cone in his hand. "There was a pup in our pack once who used to bring me these. Said they were baby trees." She tilted her head. "Do you know what a pup is?" he asked gently. She didn't move. "Well," he said, smiling faintly, "you were one too. Once. That night she didn't growl when he came. She didn't reach for him. But when he left, she pressed her fingers against the bars where he'd been sitting. Logan didn't see it, but Ren did, and her heart ached at the sight. The council chambers smelled of wax, wood, and rising impatience. Alpha Marcus paced near the hearth, arms folded tightly. His voice sliced through the air like a blade. 3 weeks, Logan. She still hasn't shifted. Still hasn't spoken. She's not ready, Logan replied, calm despite the tension. She's not violent anymore. Because she hasn't had the chance, scoffed Reed from the side of the room. We keep her caged and fed like a house cat. Ren stood behind Logan, hands folded in her sleeves. She's calmer. She bit one of my guards. Logan lifted his bandaged wrist. Me, actually. Marcus eyed the healing wound with disdain. Then you should be the first to admit she's a lost cause. I'm saying she's not, Logan replied evenly. She's starting to respond. Not with words yet, but her behavior's changing. She watches. She mimics. That's more than most ferals ever do. Marcus narrowed his gaze. Fine. I'll give you 2 more weeks. After that, she's no longer yours to protect. Logan didn't react, but inside, something shifted. The clock had begun ticking, and Luma didn't even know it. It was raining when Logan entered the cell block again. The smell of wet stone drifted down the corridor. He paused near the girl's cage, holding a blanket in one hand, a ceramic bowl of hot soup in the other. She sat in her usual corner, arms wrapped around her knees, gaze distant. Her hair was tangled again, but she'd stopped hiding behind it lately. She watched him approach with wary eyes. He knelt by the bars. It's cold tonight. No response. Logan folded the blanket and pushed it through a small opening near the floor. This is for you. You can leave it. Or use it. Still nothing. He set the soup down and leaned back, letting the silence grow comfortable between them. After several minutes, she crawled forward and took the blanket. She sniffed it cautiously, then wrapped it around her shoulders with awkward hands. Her eyes didn't leave him. You've never had one, have you? Logan asked, voice quiet. Something soft. Something yours. She blinked slowly, not understanding, but not turning away either. He didn't stay long that night. When he left, she was still holding the blanket close to her body, like it might disappear if she let go. The next day, Logan returned early. Ren was already there, squatting by the girl's cage with a new bowl of crushed berries. Thought I'd try something sweet. Maybe she'll respond. Logan chuckled as he approached. You're bribing her with sugar now? She deserves better than dry jerky and boiled roots, Ren said. Even if she doesn't say it. The girl sat quietly in the center of her cell, head tilted, eyes flicking between them. Let me try, Logan said. Ren handed him the bowl, and stepped back. He crouched, slowly extended his hand between the bars. "She'll bite you again," Ren warned under her breath. "She won't," Logan said confidently. The girl moved toward him, slowly, cautiously, like an animal approaching an unfamiliar scent. Her gaze locked on his hand. One step, then another. Her breath was shallow, nostrils flaring. She reached out and touched the rim of the bowl. Her fingers brushed Logan's. She flinched, but didn't retreat. Instead, she blinked, confused, and touched him again, on purpose this time. Her hand trembled against his skin, light as a leaf in wind. Logan didn't move. She held a touch for 3 long seconds before pulling back and curling into herself. Ren exhaled in disbelief. "That was the first time she let you." "Yeah," Logan whispered. "It was." That night, Logan stayed later than usual. He sat on a stool just outside her cage, a book in his lap, reading softly from the pages. It wasn't for her to understand the words. It was the sound, his voice steady and calm, something normal to fill the space between them. She had curled up again, but not in the far corner. She was closer now. Not quite near, but near enough to see his face. After a while, the book slipped from his hands and he began to hum. The melody was old, a lullaby from his childhood. One his mother used to hum when he'd been too restless to sleep. He didn't realize he'd started until her head lifted slightly. She didn't move, just listened. Logan continued, the sound low and warm. His eyes drifted shut for a moment, letting the music settle in the silence. When he opened them again, he found her watching him, eyes wide, lips parted. Her expression was soft. He smiled. "You liked that." She blinked once, then turned her head. He stood and gathered his things, not expecting anything more. But as he turned to leave, a small sound followed him. A breathy echo, barely audible. Hum. Logan stopped cold. He turned slowly. She was still sitting, staring at the bars now. But her lips had moved. Her voice had made a sound. The exact shape of his lullaby. He didn't speak. Didn't move. She didn't repeat it. But something in the air had changed. The silence was no longer empty. It was waiting to be filled. The next day, Logan brought a wooden puzzle with him, a simple child's toy with shaped pieces that fit into cutouts. He set it on the floor just outside her cage. She crawled toward it, intrigued. Her eyes roamed the pieces with fascination. She didn't touch them at first. "Circle," Logan said softly, pointing. "Square, star, triangle." She didn't mimic the words, but her hand hovered over each piece as he named them. He pushed the puzzle closer. "Here, try." She reached forward and picked up the triangle. Her fingers fumbled clumsily, but she managed to fit it into the correct space. She looked up at him, eyes bright. Logan grinned. "Yes, that's it." She tried another, then another. He let her finish them all before taking the board back and mixing it again. This time, when he pointed, she hesitated. Her lips moved. He watched, breath caught. She touched the circle. "Su-ku." "Circle," he whispered. She blinked, then pointed to the star. "Sta." "Yes," he said. "Star." Then she pointed at him. Her face twisted in thought. Her hand pressed to her chest. Then she pointed again. "Lo." He stilled. "What did you say?" "Lo," she repeated, firmer this time. That was the name she had heard others call him. It wasn't a word. It was him. He swallowed hard. "And you?" She tilted her head. Her fingers pointed to herself. "Lu Ma." He stood frozen for a moment, stunned by the quiet triumph in her voice. Luma. That was her name. Not creature. Not Omega. Not beast. Luma. Logan could hardly believe what he'd heard. "Luma," he repeated, as if tasting it. "That's your name." The girl, no, the girl with a name, nodded slowly. "Lama," she said again, more certain this time. Her brow furrowed like she was working hard to keep the syllables straight in her mouth. He dropped to one knee beside the bars. "Do you remember anything else? Where you're from? What happened?" She stared at him, lips parted. Her eyes searched his, wide and unsure. Then she shook her head. "Okay," Logan said gently. "That's okay. Luma's a beautiful name." She reached out, pressing her fingers through the bars. Her small hand found his again. Her touch was deliberate this time, not instinctual. Curious, not afraid. Wren entered the room just as Logan whispered, "You're safe here." Wren stopped mid-step. Did she just? She told me her name. Wren stared, stunned. She spoke? Logan nodded. She's starting. Luma glanced between them, chest rising and falling fast. She didn't speak again. Not yet. But she didn't growl when Wren knelt beside Logan either. And that was more than enough. The next morning, Logan returned with a new puzzle, a collection of wooden animal figures and matching picture cards. He found Luma already sitting upright, waiting. He smiled. Morning. Luma's eyes lit up. Lo. That one word sent something blooming warm in his chest. Yeah, I'm here. She scooted forward, eyes darting to the box in his hand. Want to try something new? He asked. New, she echoed, hesitant. He nodded, pulling out the figures. This is a bear. This one's a fox. That's a rabbit. She reached forward, picking up the bear. Bear, she said slowly, mispronouncing it slightly. Ooh. Close. You're doing great. She looked at him again, more serious now. Lo. Smart. Logan blinked. Yes. You're very smart. Her lips twitched. It wasn't quite a smile, but close. They played for nearly an hour. Luma repeated names, clumsily shaped words, and once even laughed, short and scratchy, but real. When she grew tired, she leaned her head against the bars. Logan didn't move. He simply watched her and whispered, "You're not just surviving anymore, Luma. You're living." 2 days later, Alpha Marcus summoned Logan again. She spoke. Marcus asked, seated at the head of the council room table. She did, Logan confirmed. She knows her name. She mimics simple words. She's starting to connect things. Marcus steepled his fingers. Does she remember where she came from? No. But she's progressing fast. Given time, she'll. Marcus cut him off. I'll allow her to remain in custody under one condition. Logan tensed. Which is, she is to be evaluated in 1 week by Elder Ryden and the council. Publicly. If she can't demonstrate comprehension and obedience, she'll be reassigned to enforcer training. She's not a weapon. She's an Omega Logan. She has to function. Logan's jaw clenched, but he nodded stiffly. Then she'll be ready. He left the room without another word. When he returned to Luma's cell, she greeted him with a bright, "Lo." He knelt down beside her cage, quieter than usual. She crawled closer. Sad, she asked. He blinked. She touched his knee gently. Lo was sad. He didn't know what to say. She had never noticed emotion before, let alone named it. So he smiled, though it felt brittle. Just tired. Luma tilted her head. Tired, me too. He touched her fingers through the bars. Then let's rest together. Bathing her was delicate. Wren prepared the room, filling a large basin with warm water, spreading towels and a soft brush nearby. We can't keep her in filth. If she's going to stand in front of the pack, she needs to look and smell like a person. She is a person, Logan muttered. She's still terrified of water, Wren reminded him. You'll have to stay. She trusts you. They brought Luma in slowly. She looked at the steaming tub like it might bite her. When Logan stepped forward, she clutched his arm. Hot. No, he said gently. Warm. Not scary. She sniffed the air cautiously, then dipped one finger in the water. Her nose wrinkled. Smells flowers. Wren smiled softly. Lavender. It's good. Safe. Luma turned wide eyes on Logan. Safe. Yes. It took nearly half an hour, but eventually Logan coaxed her into the water, clothes and all. She sat stiffly, arms crossed over her chest, but didn't resist as Wren gently poured water over her hair. Logan stayed by her side the whole time, humming under his breath. Luma relaxed by inches. By the end, Wren had combed her hair smooth and wrapped her in a towel. Her eyes were half-lidded, drowsy. She leaned against Logan's shoulder without hesitation. You did really well, he murmured. Her answer was a small yawn and a quiet, tired now. He helped her dress in clean, soft clothing and walked her back to her cage. She didn't resist. That night, she slept curled up under the blanket he had given her, clean, warm, and no longer shaking. The next morning, Logan arrived at the cells late. Ren had already delivered food. "Sorry," he said, stepping in. "Got caught up with the alpha." Luma was crouched at the bars, eyes alert. She waved the wooden animal puzzle at him. "Play." "In a bit," he said. "Let me sit." As he lowered himself, Reed strode in behind him. "You're still wasting time on her?" Logan's back stiffened. "I'm working." Reed stepped closer to the cage, peering inside. "She still looks like a stray mutt." Luma growled, "Low and dangerous." "Watch it, beast," Reed snapped. "You're lucky you're not in a pit." He reached for the cage lock, smirking. Maybe a little reminder would. Before he could touch it, Luma lunged. Her hand shot through the bars and grabbed Reed's wrist. Her growl turned to a snarl, teeth bared. Reed staggered back. "What the?" "Luma," Logan barked. She didn't bite, but she didn't let go either. Her eyes were wide with fury, breath coming in ragged bursts. "Luma, let go," Logan said more gently, kneeling beside her. "You don't need to protect me. I'm okay." Her eyes flicked to him. Slowly, hesitantly, she released Reed's wrist and shrank back. Reed cursed and stormed out. "She's dangerous." Logan turned to her. "Why did you do that?" She touched his hand. Low hurt. "No," he said softly. "You stopped him before he could." She nodded, solemn. "Then, I'll keep you safe." He smiled despite himself. "Thank you, Luma." She settled back, drawing the puzzle into her lap, calm once more. The sun streamed through the small barred window in Luma's cell, casting soft lines across the floor. Logan sat cross-legged just outside, watching her arrange the animal puzzle she had nearly memorized. "Bear," she said, placing it. "Big, strong, just like you," Logan replied. She looked up, then tilted her head. "I'm not strong." He raised an eyebrow. "You grabbed Reed's wrist hard enough to bruise him." Her mouth curled slightly, uncertain whether she should smile. He allowed. "Made you sad. You noticed that?" She nodded slowly, then placed the rabbit piece with care. "Lo, always kind." I'll be kind too." It was such a simple sentence, but Logan blinked at it, stunned. "That's a good thing to want, Luma," he said softly. "Kindness matters." Luma glanced away. Her fingers fidgeted with the edge of the puzzle board. "I want to stay." Logan leaned in closer. "Stay where?" Her hand pressed to the cold stone floor. "Here, with Lo." He didn't speak for a moment. She looked fragile sitting there, knees drawn up, her hair loosely braided by Ren that morning. But her eyes were sure. "I want that too," he said at last. She whispered, "Good." 2 days before the evaluation, Logan was summoned again. He found Alpha Marcus seated alone in the strategy room, swirling something amber in a glass. "You're too attached," Marcus said, not looking up. "She's not dangerous," Logan replied calmly. "She speaks. She learns. She wants to stay." "She's an Omega," Marcus said flatly. "And if she's going to remain, she needs to serve the pack. Not just you." Logan folded his arms. "What are you suggesting?" "Say she passes the evaluation," Marcus said, turning toward him. "The pack will want to see a bond formed. A mating. Someone to control her instincts, balance her rank. She's wild. She needs structure." Logan stiffened. "She's not ready for anything like that. She's not your pup beta," Marcus warned. "If you care about her, you'll make sure she behaves. Or the council will choose who she belongs to." "You're not choosing that for her," Logan snapped. Marcus rose. "You have 2 days. Show them she's tame. Show them she belongs." Logan left without a word, but his heart thundered. He knew what Marcus was doing, tightening the leash before Luma ever had a chance to run free. That night, Logan brought a small wooden flute to the cell. It had been his when he was young, a gift for his mother before her passing. The wood was worn smooth, the notes soft and haunting. He sat by the bars and played a simple melody. Luma crept closer, drawn by the sound. Her head swayed slightly, her body rocking side to side. She sat with her legs crossed, hands on her knees, eyes closed. Logan smiled. "You like music, don't you?" Luma opened one eye and nodded. "Makes me feel floaty." He chuckled. "Floaty's good." Then he stood. She blinked up at him. "Want to try something?" he asked. She hesitated, but nodded. He opened the cell slowly. No chains, no warnings. Just trust. Ren had approved it earlier, saying she thought Luma could handle a short walk in time outside the bars. Luma stepped out slowly, bare feet light on the stone. Her eyes scanned everything, alert but not panicked. Logan extended his hand. "Take it." She placed her hand in his palm, trembling. He led her to a quiet corner where a tapestry hung and the moonlight painted patterns on the floor. Then he began to move, just swaying his body gently side to side. "Dance," he said softly. Luma tilted her head. "What's dance?" "It's when your body listens to music. Like this." He guided her hands to his shoulders, stepping gently with her. She fumbled at first, stepping on his foot. She gasped, about to retreat. Logan chuckled. "It's okay. Try again." Slowly, her body mimicked his. Awkward at first, but with every step, she relaxed. Luma didn't smile often. But that night, under moonlight, as she stumbled into rhythm with Logan, she laughed, light and real. And Logan thought he might never forget that sound. The morning of the evaluation arrived too quickly. Ren helped Luma into clean clothes, a soft white blouse and pale linen pants, nothing too formal. Her hair was braided again, tucked neatly behind her ears. Logan watched as she stood by the mirror, staring at her own reflection with fascination and quiet fear. "You look beautiful," he said. She turned to him, brows pinched. "I look, not me." He stepped beside her. "You're still you. Just cleaner." She frowned. "They hate me." "No," Logan said firmly. "They don't understand you. That's different. You'll show them today." "I scared." "I'll be with you." That seemed to calm her. She held onto his arm the entire walk up to the meeting hall. Inside, the council sat in a semicircle. Alpha Marcus in the center. Elder Ryden to his right. Several guards flanked the walls. Whispers stirred as Luma entered, eyes cast down, steps hesitant. Logan stood beside her and bowed. "This is Luma. She's here to speak for herself." Ryden leaned forward. "Is she capable?" Luma lifted her chin, voice small. "I can talk." Gas stirred. Ryden nodded slowly. "And do you understand where you are, child?" Luma blinked, then looked to Logan. "Home." "Answer him," Logan whispered. She turned back. "Safe?" With low. Another murmur. Marcus frowned. "You've taught her to parrot." "I learn," Luma said a little louder. "I'm not dumb." That stopped the room. Ryden's gaze softened. "Why did you attack the enforcer?" Luma hesitated, then said, he aloud. "Hurt low." Ryden nodded. "Would you do it again?" She frowned. "If bad, yes." A few council members chuckled. Marcus rose. "And what about when Logan is gone? Will you obey orders then?" Luma's eyes flicked to Logan, then the Alpha. "Listen, but not if hurt." Marcus opened his mouth, but Ryden raised a hand. "That's enough. She's more aware than we expected." Logan kept his voice level. "So what's the decision?" Ryden looked to Marcus. "She stays, but she is to remain under your watch until further notice." Marcus gave a stiff nod. Logan exhaled slowly. Luma gripped his arm. "Done," she whispered. He smiled. "You did it." That night, Logan brought her outside. Not far, just to the garden behind the stronghold. It was empty, quiet, touched by silver moonlight. Luma walked barefoot through the grass, arms stretched slightly to the side. Her eyes shone. "Feels a big," she whispered. "It is," he said. "It's freedom." She turned to him. "I keep it, as long as you stay." She moved closer. Her fingers reached for his hand, then paused. "Can I touch?" He swallowed. "Yes." She slipped her hand into his. It was small, soft, still unsure but warm. They stood together under the moonlight, silent. Then Luma whispered, low, "I'm not broken." His throat tightened. "No, you're not." She looked up at him. Then, "What I am?" He brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. "You're Luma." And that's enough. Her eyes glistened, and for the first time, she leaned forward and rested her head against his chest. Logan wrapped his arms around her slowly, carefully, like cradling something wild and sacred. And under the stars, she let herself be held. Wren held out a folded bundle of fabric to Logan. For her. He raised an eyebrow. What is it? A dress, she said. Lightweight, soft, something not ripped or stolen from the infirmary supply closet. Logan took it carefully, then paused. She's only just gotten used to wearing shirts without panicking. I know, Wren said gently. But she's not a prisoner anymore, Logan. Let her see how it feels to choose something new. He nodded and brought it down to the cell. Luma was kneeling on her blanket, combing her fingers through the smooth wooden puzzle pieces. When she saw Logan, her face brightened. Lo, I brought you something, he said, crouching by the bars. You don't have to wear it if you don't want to. Just try. She sniffed the bundle, then unfolded it in her lap. The fabric shimmered with pale green. Her fingers sank into it. Pretty. Yes, Logan said. It'll suit you. Luma stood hesitantly. Logan turned his back as she dressed, but before he finished turning, he heard a sharp intake of breath and the rustle of fabric hitting the floor. When he turned back, she was crouched in a corner, arms wrapped tightly around her chest, eyes wide with fear. Luma, he said quickly, staying outside the cage. It's okay. No one's going to hurt you. She was trembling. Tight. Felt like rope. Logan swallowed hard. Of course. She'd been bound before years ago. He didn't need to know the exact scene to understand what she was remembering. Breathe, he said softly. Can I take it away? She nodded. He collected the dress and folded it again. We'll wait. No pressure. Luma didn't speak for a while. But as he sat down beside the cage, she scooted a little closer and leaned her head against the bars. I'm sorry, she whispered. You don't need to be. The next afternoon, Logan found himself alone with Wren outside the infirmary. The late sun dipped behind the trees, casting gold light on the stone pathways. She's clinging to you, Wren said gently. More and more every day. Logan leaned against the wall. I know. And you're letting her. I don't want her to feel alone. Wren studied his face. That's not the only reason. He looked away, then let out a breath. I know. She softened. Logan, she's like a child in some ways. But she's not a child. She's growing. And she's watching you more than anyone else. I would never cross a line, he said quickly. I know you wouldn't. But I also know the council is watching. And Marcus? He wants an excuse to take her from you. Logan clenched his jaw. He won't get one. Then be careful, Wren said quietly. Because if she wants to stay close, and you don't help her understand why, someone else will try to twist that bond for their own gain. That night, Luma had nightmares. Logan woke to screaming, raw, guttural cries echoing through the lower hall. He ran to the cell block and found Wren already there, crouching outside Luma's cage. She was thrashing in her blanket, limbs jerking. Her body twitched violently, as if something beneath her skin was trying to escape. What's happening? Logan asked. Wren's face was grim. She's trying to shift. In her sleep. No, Wren said. Her body remembers, but her mind doesn't know what to do with it. Luma screamed again, clawing at the floor. Let me in, Logan said. Wren hesitated. It's not safe. She won't hurt me. He stepped inside slowly. Luma, he whispered, kneeling near her. It's me. It's Lo. You're okay. She whimpered, eyes rolling back, but his voice seemed to ground her. Her breath slowed. I'm here, he said again, reaching out. You don't have to fight it. Just feel it. Her hands curled against her chest. Hurts. I know, he said. But it's you. It's yours. A faint shimmer rippled across her skin, fur, then fur again, before fading. Luma collapsed, panting. Logan gathered her gently into his arms. Wren stayed silent, watching. She's close, Wren whispered. The shift is coming. They brought her outside on the next full moon. Not far, just to the walled inner courtyard, where the grass grew wild and the moonlight spilled like water across the earth. Luma stood barefoot in the center, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. I'm scared, she whispered. Logan knelt in front of her. It's going to feel strange, but it's not bad. It's part of who you are. Will I still be me? Yes, he said. Always. She looked up at the moon. Then she fell to her knees. Her body trembled violently. Bones cracked. Her back arched. She screamed, but it was a scream of release, not pain. Fear burst across her arms. Her limbs bent, realigned. Her face changed shape, elongating into a slender snout. In less than a minute, the girl was gone. In her place stood a silver-furred wolf, small, fast-looking, lean from years of starvation and instinct. Luma's wolf eyes scanned the courtyard, wild and wide. She whimpered once. Then she ran fast, circling the edge of the walls. A blur of silver. Logan didn't move. He let her run. Ren stood quietly by the gate, murmuring, "She's beautiful." After nearly 20 minutes, Luma slowed. She padded toward Logan and sat before him. He held out a hand. She sniffed it, then pressed her snout gently to his palm. "You did it," he whispered. "You came back." The next day, Ren brought in someone new. "She's an Elder Omega," Ren explained. "Her name is Mira. Used to train pups before the rogues took half her family." Logan was wary but nodded. If Luma's willing. Mira was gentle, short, and weathered by time. Her eyes, however, were sharp as knives. Luma watched her from the other side of the room, chewing nervously on a piece of fruit. "She doesn't trust new people easily," Logan said. Mira hummed. "She doesn't need to trust me. She needs to hear me." She approached Luma slowly, keeping her hands at her sides. "You had your first shift," Mira said softly. "That means your wolf is strong." Luma nodded once. "Do you remember your mother?" Mira asked. Luma hesitated, then shook her head. "Do you remember the woods?" A long pause, then cold. "Trees. No faces." "That's okay," Mira said. "The memories come back slowly." Luma looked at her. "You are not scared." "Of you?" Mira smiled. "Not at all." That night, Luma said to Logan, "She smelled like home." Logan smiled. "Maybe she can help you remember where home was." Luma looked at him solemnly. "Home is here." With Lo, he touched her cheek gently. "It is now." Luma stared at the mirror in the infirmary hallway, transfixed. She didn't touch it, just stood barefoot in her oversized shirt, staring into the glass. Her reflection stared back. A young woman with wide, cautious eyes. Long, tangled hair. Thin, wiry limbs wrapped in healing muscle. Logan leaned against the wall nearby, arms crossed, watching her quietly. After several minutes, she turned to him. "That me?" He nodded. "Yes, that's you." She frowned, as if uncertain. "Look like Mama?" Logan blinked. "You remember your mother?" She squinted at the mirror again. "Hair? Black like tree bark." Voice warm. He stepped closer, slowly. "That's good, Luma. That's really good." "I had Mama," she whispered. "Before trees took me." Logan didn't correct her. He just knelt beside her and placed a hand over hers. "You still have someone," he said. She tilted her head. "You, if you want." Luma reached up and touched her reflection, then turned her hand, pressing her palm to Logan's cheek. "You mine." Alpha Marcus sat at the head of the long table, flanked by the elders. Logan stood at the other end, jaw tight, back straight. "She shifted," Marcus said. "That changes everything." "It means she's stable," Logan said. "She's learning. She's healing." Marcus smirked. "It means she's dangerous. And as such, she should not remain in your custody. The Omega quarters have space, more secure, more appropriate for her training. She's not a prisoner. She's also not your maid," Marcus said sharply. "She is wild-blooded. Half rogue by circumstance, perhaps by nature." Elder Nora cleared her throat. "Beta Logan has made progress with her none of us could have predicted. Removing her now would be cruel. It's not about cruelty. It's about control," Marcus snapped. "She trusts me," Logan said. "You take her away now, and we lose everything we've built." Marcus tapped his fingers on the table. "Then make it official. Claim her." Logan froze. "That's what this is really about, isn't it?" Marcus said. "You want her. So either mark her or hand her over to the Omega handlers." The room was silent. Logan's fist clenched. "She's not ready to choose that. I won't take advantage of her." Then perhaps someone else will. Logan's eyes darkened. He left the meeting with the threat ringing in his ears. Logan found Luma curled in the hayloft where she often napped, tangled in a blanket with her cheek pressed to a pillow. He didn't want to wake her, but she stirred when she felt him sit beside her. "Lo, I'm here," he said gently. "Just needed to see you." She blinked at him sleepily. "You smell mad." His jaw tightened. "The alpha wants to move you." Her eyes darkened instantly, and she grabbed his wrist. "No." "I said no," he promised. "But they don't like that. They want me to claim you." She looked confused. "Like bite?" "Exactly. Make you mine." She stared at him for a long moment. "You don't want that." He took a slow breath. "I do. More than anything. But not until you want it. Not until you understand what it means." Her fingers brushed his arm. "You always wait. You kind. Even when I bite you first time." He smiled faintly. "I remember that." She leaned in, her forehead pressing against his. "I want you. But brain's still messy. That's okay." Suddenly, she stiffened. Her nose twitched. "Smell. What is it?" She sniffed again, then stood abruptly. "Blood. Long ago. And snow." He stood with her. "You're remembering." She nodded slowly. "Big man. Not pack. He had knife. Mama scream. I run. Luma." Logan said, heart hammering. "You saw your parents attacked?" Her hands curled into fists. "Not dream. Real. Real." He swallowed hard. "We need to tell Ren." Logan barely slept. He paced the lower hall while Ren sat with Luma, trying to help her piece the fragments of memory together. She said the man who took her had a scar across his throat, Ren murmured the next morning. And he wore a red sash. "That's not rogue behavior." Logan froze. "That's soldier detail." "Exactly," Ren said. "Some military packs used sashes like that during border raids years ago." His mind raced. "You think someone ordered her taken?" "I think Luma was never lost to the woods by accident. And if someone inside this region was involved." "Marcus," Logan muttered. Ren looked up sharply. "You really think he'd?" "He's obsessed with bloodlines. Maybe he knew she was born Omega, knew she'd be powerful if she survived. And maybe he wanted to train her like a weapon." Ren's face paled. "Then why let you have her all this time?" Logan looked toward the cell stairs. "Because she bonded to me faster than he expected. And now he's losing control." They both looked at the stairwell, silent now, but holding Luma's dreams and her buried past. "Keep her close," Ren said. "Because if we're right, someone's coming for her." It happened after midnight. Logan was asleep in the chair beside Luma's cot, his head resting against the wall, one hand loosely linked with hers. The scent woke him, sharp, bitter, wrong. He was on his feet in seconds. A figure darted through the shadows. Steel flashed. Luma sat up and screamed. Logan tackled the intruder just inside the door, snarling as his wolf surged to the surface. They slammed into the wall, trading blows. The attacker was fast, clearly trained, but Logan was faster. The second attacker came from behind. Luma lunged without thinking, half-shifted, claws tearing through cloth. She bit down on the man's arm until he dropped his weapon. Ren burst through the hallway with two guards behind her. "Don't kill him," she shouted. "We need answers." Logan pinned the first man down, panting. Luma stood barefoot in the corner, shaking. "Who sent you?" Logan demanded, pressing a knee to the man's throat. The intruder spat blood. "She belongs to the crown. We're taking her back." Ren's voice turned cold. "The crown? What crown?" But the man laughed, before biting down hard on something in his mouth. He convulsed. Dead before anyone could stop it. Logan turned to Luma, who stood frozen, blood on her hands. "I kill him," she whispered. "I bite and he stop." "No," Logan said fiercely, grabbing her shoulders. "You protected yourself." "But I like it." He flinched. Ren stepped closer. "That's not your fault, Luma. You were made to survive. It's not wrong to fight when someone tries to cage you." Luma looked at Logan, eyes shimmering. "Still want me?" He pulled her into his arms. "Always." The aftermath of the ambush left the royal pack in chaos. Reinforced guards patrolled the corridors. Elder council meetings stretched late into the night. Rumors whispered through the ranks like wildfire. But in the quiet room at the edge of the infirmary, Logan sat with Luma, gently brushing through her tangled hair. She flinched when his fingers grazed a spot on her shoulder blade. "You okay?" he asked, concerned. She frowned. "There's burn." He leaned in. Carefully, he pulled the fabric aside. And then he saw it. A small, faint mark. Circular. Not quite a scar, but something branded long ago and mostly faded. Barely visible, but unmistakable. A royal seal. "What is it?" Luma asked, sensing the shift in his energy. Logan didn't answer immediately. He stood and opened the cabinet near Ren's desk, rummaging until he found a folder of old insignias. He flipped through them and stopped. Same circle. Same twin crescent wolves. Same crown. Ren entered the room just as Logan set the folder down. "She was branded," he said quietly. "Not by rogues. Not by accident." Ren's eyes widened. "That mark, it's House Rayleigh." Logan turned sharply. "The Eastern royal family?" Ren nodded grimly. "They were overthrown over a decade ago. Thought to be extinct." Luma looked between them. "That bad?" "No, Luma," Logan said. "It means you're not just an Omega." Ren met his eyes. "She's royal-blooded." Logan stood before Alpha Marcus the next morning, heart pounding like a war drum. "She's not going anywhere," he said. Marcus raised a brow. "You come here making demands? I'm telling you what I know. Luma is Rayleigh blood. And if word gets out, if the Eastern houses find out, then she becomes valuable." Marcus cut in smoothly. "A bargaining chip." Logan's jaw tightened. "She's a person, not a pawn." "She's a threat, Logan," Marcus said. "If the old bloodlines try to rise again, they'll have to go through me." Marcus stood. "You're too close. That girl has you tangled in knots. I care about her. That's not weakness. It is when it clouds your judgment. You're Beta. Not her mate. Not her king. Maybe I'm both," Logan snapped. The room went silent. Marcus's lip curled. "Then mark her. Claim her. Publicly." Logan stared him down. "I will. When she understands what it means. When she chooses. That's not how this works. It is now." Logan left the Alpha's hall without waiting for dismissal. For the first time in his life, he didn't bow. That night, Logan brought Luma to the moonlit courtyard behind a packhouse. The snow had begun to melt, leaving patches of dark earth and trembling grass. He crouched beside her as she touched a budding flower like it was sacred. "You said, my name not just Luma," she said slowly. "No," he said. "That's the name you remembered. But there's more." He pulled a weathered paper from his coat. "An old registry. Faded ink. Found this in the archives," he said. "You were registered at birth as Lamaria Rayleigh, daughter of Queen Soraya." She blinked. "Mama named Soraya?" "Yes." Luma touched her chest. "Lamaria pretty, but big." Logan chuckled. "You can still be Luma. Names don't change who you are." She looked up at him. "But maybe I changed name." "Be both. You can be whoever you want to be," he said. She bit her lip. "Can I be Luna?" He blinked. "Luna." She smiled shyly. "Like sky. Like moon. Like warm." He touched her hand. "You're light, Luma. Wild, but never broken. Even if I bite people." He laughed. "Especially if you bite people." Alpha Marcus called an emergency council. Logan was not invited, but Ren was. She returned to the quarters later that day, pale and furious. "They're planning to transport her," Ren said, "under the excuse of safety. Marcus has contacted the Western Coalition. They've agreed to take her in for protection." "He's giving her away," Logan growled. "It's political. If she stays and someone tries to crown her." "She doesn't want a crown," Logan snapped. "She just wants to live. Doesn't matter what she wants to them," Ren muttered. "She's power, and that scares them." Logan paced. "We have to move her." "Where?" He looked toward the forest. "Away. Somewhere no one thinks to look. Somewhere she can decide for herself who she wants to be." Ren hesitated. "I can delay them a day." Maybe two. That's all I need. They turned to Luma, who stood in the doorway, listening. Go, she whispered. Logan nodded. Tonight, she looked at the window, then back at him. I go with you. My choice. Logan packed lightly essentials, cash, medicine. Ren provided forged documents and a pair of old hunting cloaks. Luma wore hers with a hood up, her fingers gripping Logan's like a lifeline. They slipped through the tunnels beneath the old stable, emerging in the woods beyond the patrol line. Snow crunched beneath their boots. You cold? Logan whispered. She shook her head. No, just scared. That's normal. They paused at the ridge. The forest stretched beyond, dark and endless. Luma, he said gently. Once we cross, there's no going back. Are you sure? She turned to him. Her voice was steadier than he'd ever heard it. I know a cage. Know a crown. I want you. He swallowed hard. You have me. She reached for his hand. Then we run. And they did. Through the trees. Into the wind. Two souls, one feral, one steady, disappearing into the wild night, where love didn't come with rules or ranks. Only freedom. The forest welcomed them with breathless silence. Logan led the way through forgotten trails and half-buried game paths, his hand tight around Loomis. She moved like she belonged there, steps careful, nose lifted to the wind. Rogue sense, she murmured. He paused. How close? She knelt, touching broken pine needles, sniffed once, then rose. Old day or more. Still, Logan kept his hand near the knife at his belt. They walked until the moon reached its peak. Deep in the woods, far from the royal lands, they came upon an old hunting cabin, half collapsed on one side but dry inside. This is it for tonight, Logan said. Luma stepped over the threshold carefully, her eyes scanning the darkness. Safe, she whispered. Logan built a fire from dry bark and twigs. The flames caught quickly, casting warm shadows across the wooden walls. Why here? She asked. This was my father's place, he said. He used to bring me here when the world got too loud. She looked at him thoughtfully. You hide, too. He smiled sadly. I still do. She reached for his hand. Now we hide together. The next morning, Luma woke first. Sunlight spilled through the broken rafters, gilding Logan's face in soft gold. She studied him quietly, noting the faint scar on his chin, the way his lashes twitched as he dreamed. She touched his arm gently. He stirred. Morning. She tilted her head. Why your scar? He blinked, then smiled. Got it trying to protect my sister. Fell through a window. Painful. He nodded. But worth it. She turned her hand and showed her forearm long faded claw marks, healed crooked. Wolf, she said. Not mine. His fingers traced the marks reverently. Someone hurt you. She shrugged. Before. Not now. You've survived everything, he whispered. She looked at him. But not alone. He met her eyes. No, not anymore. They sat in silence for a while, the fire crackling softly between them. Then Luma asked something she'd never dared to before. Do you think I can learn more words? Logan smiled. I'd like nothing more. By the third day, the snow returned. They moved east, sticking close to the river. Luma navigated by instinct. Logan taught her words for trees, for fish, for wind. But their peace was short-lived. They're tracking us, Logan said one night, crouched near a set of heavy boot prints in the slush. Not rogues. Royal Patrol. Luma sniffed there. I smell anger. And a cold. He nodded grimly. Marcus sent hunters. Probably said we're traitors. Because of me, she whispered. Because of them, he corrected. You don't owe them anything. Still, she looked troubled. What if I am bad? She asked. Mama died. Pack died. Maybe I hurt them. No, Logan said firmly. You were a child. You didn't bring that on them. She looked at him with wide, uncertain eyes. What if I have a power? Then you'll decide how to use it. And if I choose wrong, I'll still be here. She nodded slowly, drawing courage from him. And when the howls echoed across the trees later that night, she didn't flinch. She growled back. They found the ruins of the Rayleigh summer stronghold on the fifth day. Hidden in a valley, overgrown with ivy and silence, The crumbling estate still bore remnants of gold on its gates. This is, Logan trailed off, taking in the architecture, the silent grandeur. Luma stepped forward. Her breath hitched. I remember this place, she whispered. Cold stone. Big hall. Mama sang here. A broken music box lay among the rubble. She turned the key, and a soft melody spilled out. Logan knelt beside her. We could stay here. For a while. She shook her head. They will come. Want what I am. Then let them come, he said. You're not alone. They explored the ruins together. Beneath a fallen bookshelf in the old library, Logan unearthed a bound journal. The crest matched Luma's brand. He flipped through the pages. Your mother's handwriting. Luma took it gently. She couldn't read most of it, but one word appeared over and over. Hope. She touched the page. She wanted me to live. You are her legacy. She looked at him. No, she whispered. We are. That night, the sky shimmered silver blue with full moonlight. Luma stood in the clearing outside the ruins, barefoot in the snow, staring up at the sky. Logan watched from a distance, unsure if she would shift. She had always resisted it. Feral instinct, yes, but the full transformation. She feared it. She turned to him. I want to try. He stepped forward. You don't have to if. I do, she said softly. I want to know. All of me. He nodded. Then I'll be here. She closed her eyes, body trembling. The air thickened with magic. And then, with a sudden pulse of heat, her body stretched, twisted, until a pale silver wolf stood in her place. Small, lean, scarred, but beautiful. Logan dropped to his knees, stunned. Then he shifted. Where a man once stood, now a russet-furred wolf padded forward, dipping his head. Luma approached, touched her nose to his. No words, just warmth. They ran through the snow, howling together. Not as fugitive and fugitive, not as broken and healer, but as equals, as bonded, as a beginning. The snow hadn't stopped in days, and neither had the pursuit. Luma and Logan reached the edge of the Graymere borderlands, where pine grew thick and ancient. The air was sharp with frost, and something else sent markers. Fresh. They're here, Logan said, fingers brushing the hilt of his knife. No hiding now, Luma murmured, eyes narrowing. Across the ravine, a dozen wolves stood in formation. At their center, Marcus, dressed in black wool and smugness. His beta Wade lingered close behind him. Well, Marcus called across the gap, voice echoing. If it isn't the mongrel princess and her pet. Logan stepped forward, growling. You're out of your territory, Marcus. This is my territory now, Marcus sneered. Once I return with her. He pointed at Luma. She didn't flinch. Not going. He raised an eyebrow. You've learned to speak. How adorable. And pointless. She's not yours, Logan said. She's the daughter of a traitor Omega, Marcus snapped. And she carries blood that can challenge royal succession. That makes her mine. Luma's eyes narrowed. No one owns me. Marcus smirked. Then prove it. Challenge me. The crowd of wolves shifted uneasily. Logan stepped forward, but Luma stopped him. I accept, she said. Her voice was steady. He turned to her, startled. Luma. No running, she said. Ends now. And she stepped into the circle of snow. The rules of challenge were sacred. No interference, no weapons, and no mercy. The crowd formed a ring around the snow-covered clearing. Logan stood tense at the edge, every instinct screaming to protect her. But he held himself back. Marcus removed his coat, bearing thick muscle and an old bite scar at his shoulder. You sure about this? He asked smugly. You don't even know how to fight. I survived wolves. You're only a man, she said coldly. They shifted at once, Marcus into a large black wolf, Luma into her smaller silver form. He lunged first. He was stronger, heavier, experienced. But she was fast. Well, she didn't fight like a pack wolf. She fought like the forest had taught her, unpredictably, sharply. Marcus bit at her leg. She twisted, clawed his eye. He howled. She pounced, biting his ear hard enough to rip a piece. Blood in the snow. They broke apart. Circled. He lunged again, this time catching her side. Logan flinched. Luma. She didn't cry out. Instead, she waited for him to overcommit. When he charged, she ducked, rolled under, and clamped her jaws around his throat. Silence fell. Marcus's body still beneath her. She didn't kill him. She pulled back. He shifted back, gasping. I yield, he croaked, humiliated. The gathered wolves stared in stunned silence. And slowly, one by one, they knelt. Not to Marcus. To her. Luma stood in the center of the circle, blood drying on her fur. Then she shifted back into her scarred, trembling human form. Her eyes scanned the wolves. I don't want throne, she said, chest heaving. I want peace. One of the older deltas spoke. You have defeated the reigning alpha. The title is yours. She turned to Logan. What do I do? He stepped forward. Do what they've never done, asked. She nodded. Any wolf who does not want me as alpha is free to go, she said. No chains. No punishment. No one moved. She turned to Marcus, who knelt, still stunned. You go. And don't come back. His mouth opened, then closed. He shifted and fled into the trees. Luma turned back to the crowd. This is not a pack of fear. This is not a pack of pain. This is a choice. Logan stepped beside her. A future. The wolves began to howl, not out of obedience, but out of hope. Weeks passed. The ruins of the Rayleigh estate became the heart of something new. Not a kingdom. Not a pack exactly. A home. Logan helped build it, one beam at a time. Wolves who had once served Marcus returned, curious and cautious. They brought stories, skills, children. Luma met with them all, spoke gently. Listen more. She listens, one pup whispered to another. She smiles, another said. She understands. And as the moon turned full once more, the old traditions were rewritten. No forced bonds. No titles by blood alone. Each wolf swore themselves to the new order, if they wished. And Luma was no longer the feral girl in chains. She was the alpha who chose mercy. The night was quiet. The stars scattered like spilled salt across velvet sky. Luma stood by the river, toes in the cold current. Logan approached slowly. You've been quiet, he said. She turned to him, thinking about my mother. Would she be proud? She would be in awe, he said honestly. You've done what she never could. You've healed. She was silent a moment. I never thanked you. For what? For speaking kind before I spoke at all. He smiled. You didn't need words. I heard you. She reached for his hand. Stay. Not as protector. Not as wolf. Just stay. I was never going anywhere. And under that starlit sky, he pulled her close. Their foreheads touched, breaths mingling. I love you, he whispered. She blinked. I don't know all words, but I feel it. Strong, warm. That's enough. And in the wild, where she once survived with claws and growls, Luma lived now with peace and gentle love.